What's going on, Chiefs Kingdom and ASAP fam? Welcome to uh pop up um a pop up pregame show. Um I am your host Greg solo today. My co-host Cam and Jay are out on business, so shout out to them. They'll be back with me on Wednesday. So we gotta we still got a loaded show. Um, we got 3 hours before kickoff. So we got our interview with Craig Campbell. We'll play that for you guys. Um, and also I'll go over the keys for tonight. Um, So the breaking news that just came out, if you haven't been by your phone or you may not have heard, so Josh Simmons, our awesome left tackle who's been holding it down for these first 5 games of the year, our rookie, he is going to be out for tonight's game. He is not playing. So Jalen Moore will be at left tackle. I have all the confidence in Jalen Moore. Um, of course, we would love to have Josh Simmons as left tackle. He's been doing awesome. He is tending to a family matter. That is all we know. We don't know anything further than that. So, again, Josh Simmons, he will not be playing tonight. This just came out about 20 minutes ago. So Josh Simmons will not be at left tackle. He will not be dressing for the Chiefs tonight. He is dealing with a family matter, and he will not be playing tonight. Jalen Moore will be starting in his place at left tackle. Now that that's out the way, I'm gonna go ahead and play the interview for you guys that I did with Craig on Friday. Um, gave us our insight on the Lions side of things. And after that is over, then I will give you my keys for a Chiefs win for tonight. And we'll wrap it up after that. So, again, this is our interview from Friday with Craig Campbell. All right, welcome in Chiefs Kingdom and ASAP fam. Another episode of Red Kingdom. I am excited to have my friend, my bro, Craig Campbell with us today. As we preview Chiefs and Lions. Craig, how's it going?
Hey Greg, we're good, man. It seems like almost annually we've been doing this get together for Chiefs Lions, which it's always a good thing, right? Because that means
Yeah.
we're each division winners, top of our divisions, get to play each other. Yeah, it's always good. I'm always very grateful, appreciative for you to have me on the show. Ready to talk some Lions Chiefs football on Sunday night.
Yes. Yes. Sunday night. At Arrowhead, some in Chiefs Kingdoms like, yeah, this is a must win. Others like, yeah, if we lose, it's okay. I feel like it's a must win. That's just me personally. But let's talk about the Lions here. So start off the season against the Packers, didn't look good. Dan
Yeah,
Campbell was like, yeah, it's first game. We'll clean up stuff. Everything gonna be fine.
I feel like every game in the NFL is a must win.
And so they have been fine since then. They've blown out the Bears. The offense looks great. Everything is good. So now they come in at 4-1. Your thoughts on the season so far for the Lions?
Yeah, so I apologize if my connection's in and out. We do the best we can with what we
Oh
got,
yeah,
but
yeah.
uh, with what's at stake for each of these teams in this game, for the Lions, I think coming to 4-1, the way that they started Week 1, having new offensive defensive coordinators at Green Bay, tough environment. You drop the first game, the sky is falling for Lions fans all of a sudden in Week 1. What are we going to do without Ben Johnson? And in the next 4 weeks, they've been just like like Ben Johnson never left. This offense is top in the NFL. They're I think, one of the top rushing offenses, top 10. I think they're top 12
Mhm.
passing. Jared Goff leading the league in completion percentage, touchdowns, the amount of weapons that they have, uh, and the growth of guys like Jamison Williams and the consistency of Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery and even Amon-Ra St. Brown. They have so many weapons that have to they have to take weeks of, like, hey, let me get this guy the ball now. Like last week's a good example. Jamison Williams, they've been using him a lot more the beginning of this season. Last week against the Bengals, they shifted a little bit away from him, maybe in more of like a decoy role to get Sam Laporta involved with the best game of his season. But
Mhm.
for this game for the Lions, 4-1, the way they started after the first week, we know NFL's a long season. We were
Yes.
talking before the show about some of the seasons that the Chiefs have had where it looked like the sky is falling. They find themselves in the playoffs, back in the Super Bowl. So it's a long season, we know that, but it is a big
Yes.
statement win for the Lions if they're able to go into Arrowhead like they did a few years ago and get a win. Still, the Chiefs are still the Chiefs until they are knocked out of the playoffs and are guaranteed not to be back in the Super Bowl. They're still the Chiefs. So you
Yeah.
still have to treat them as such. And I know Dan Campbell and company, that team, they will treat it that way. And it's going to be a big game. They love the bright lights. They love the spotlight. So I think they're going to be ready. It's really going to be an interesting game because of the way that the Chiefs offense has stepped up um, last week against the Jaguars, even though it was a loss. On the Chiefs side, is it a must win? I think every game in a when you're around the 500 mark, every game feels like a must win. It's at
Yes.
home in prime time against one of the best teams in the NFL right now in Detroit. So if the Chiefs, if you feel like there's a must win, this would be one of those types of games. But in the long tenure of the season, how long that is, they can still drop this game and be okay. It's not a division game. It's not a tiebreaker game for the AFC, so they could be okay. But obviously, you do want to try to win these games if you want to see yourself meeting each other again, possibly in the Super Bowl later in the year. So I think
Mhm.
both are both sides see it as must win games, but it's definitely, I think, a little bit more favored to the Chiefs just because they are 2-3, trying to get back to 500. Um, so but I think both teams, it's going to be a pretty big game for each one.
Yes. And yeah, the Lions, like we said, we had that rocky first game and they've been on a tear since then. Um Kind of leads me to my next question. So the past two seasons for the Lions, they made the NFC Championship game, and they unfortunately for the Lions they were one and done last year and lost to Washington in the playoffs. Um, so Craig, I ask you, so Jared Goff, do you still feel like the Lions can win a Super Bowl with Jared Goff as the quarterback?
100%. I think they can, and it's not necessarily is he. It's not necessarily is it a product of him or what his skill set is. I think it's a mesh of a few different things, and him the way that he's really grown and accepted his responsibility, not even role, his responsibility. He was part of that trade with Matthew Stafford coming
Mm-hmm.
from the LA fans, the Rams organization didn't want him. They felt like he was a failed top number one draft pick,
Mm-hmm.
where they made the Super Bowl, couldn't quite beat the Patriots, so they decided they were done with him. So he comes to Detroit, where Brad Holmes had worked with him previously already in certain capacity in LA. They bring him in and they said, okay, we're going to build this with you. This is your shot at, call it redemption, right? So
Mm-hmm.
the way that they've been able to build around him and his skill set, we know what he can and can't do. He's much better indoors than he is in the elements outside, statistically speaking, which those statistics over the last couple of years have been off the charts comparatively to his first couple of seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But with his skill set, would I like him to have maybe the mobility and legs of a, say, Patrick Mahomes or Trevor Lawrence, watching that game this last week? Absolutely. I'd love for him to have, you know, even 4.4, 4.5 speed as as a quarterback. But I think the way that they scheme up everything offensively, the way that they built it around a solid offensive line.
A Super Bowl and win a Super Bowl.
Short answer is 100%. Yeah, I absolutely. We all know the story of his early few seasons in LA. They wanted to make a trade. They didn't feel like he was the guy. Traded him for Stafford. He comes to Detroit, and they said, Jared, we're going to build this thing around you. But I think they also did that knowing this is your shot at call it a redemption story. And, but they know his limitations. So
Mm-hmm.
how do you maximize the potential of a quarterback like that he's not going to be he's not like Tom Brady type of slow, but he doesn't have the wheels of a Pat Mahomes or even like a Trevor Lawrence who can extend plays, get you first downs when you need to. I'd
Mm-hmm.
love to have him have those type of skills with his feet, but that's just not reality, right? But you can still history shown you can still win Super Bowls with quarterbacks like a Jared Goff. But
Mm-hmm.
it's because it's a team aspect, and I think that's one reason why it is possible. Because Brad Holmes in this entire development department and their ability to draft, it's a couple factors. You got to have a strong offensive line. Check. Lions have done that with a handful of the picks they've had over the last few years, signings, veteran guys coming in. You got to have a strong run game. I checked. They got that too. Between Gibbs and Montgomery, Gibbs brought it to a whole nother level this season in just his flexibility and his explosiveness. And then you got to have a solid defense, and that's I think where they're improving. Still needs still needs some things shored up. We can't stay healthy in the secondary over the last couple seasons, but you have to have all those different factors. Goff does have those times, like I want to say it was in the Commanders playoff game last season, where it was a couple of throws, maybe decisions, or just in general, where they're not going to come out perfect. Some of them are going to be kind of wobbly throws, maybe sketchy decisions. But I
Mm-hmm.
also think some of that from the last two seasons of playoff exits were play calling. Because if there's one thing that was the big question mark around Ben Johnson play calling, it's third quarter play calling and decision making coming out of the half. For whatever
Mm-hmm.
reason, and especially in those two specific games, the NFC Championship against the 49ers and against the Commanders, third quarter play calling, it's like it's like it's they forgot how to play football and how were they successful in the first half, and
Mm-hmm.
then they forget how to call plays. So
Right.
I think it's possible, but it also depends on the overall health of your team and what are the other supporting factors of offense, defense, special teams. Because it is a full team effort. You can get
Yes.
so far. A quarterback can elevate your team. Yes, they can also bring it way down. But even if you have somebody who's at the level of expectation, the other pieces it's still a team game. The other pieces still have to be there. But I think it is absolutely possible. I am absolutely confident in it. It's also depending upon the other factors,
Mm.
running the ball, defense. Can you control the clock? Can you limit your turnovers, mistakes? But I think it's possible.
Okay. Okay. And that's yeah. And Jared Goff is one of those type of quarterbacks where the pieces around him have to do their job.
Mhm.
It can't just be like Patrick here. Sometimes when people aren't doing what they're supposed to do, he can, Superman it and then everything works out good. Whereas Jared Goff can't really do that. So everybody has to be on their P's and Q's for it to work.
Yeah,
So
you
yeah.
you mentioned that, and part of that is because of what he can do with his feet. He
Hmm.
can create plays.
Right.
If something breaks down, Jared Goff can't do that,
Right.
and I shouldn't say he can't. It's the expectation level there is much lower. He can scramble. He can scramble on like a 3rd and 4 if it's man-to-man coverage and there's nobody within 15 yards of him. Like he'll get you those five
Right.
yards.
Right.
But
Yeah.
can he do what Mahomes can do and extend plays, scramble around, find something and then make a guy miss and then get those 4 yards? That's not the type of player Jared Goff is. But that's where we talk about a quarterback can absolutely elevate the other talent around them because of the ability of being a dual threat. And that's what Mahomes has kind of had to do
Hmm.
over the last couple of years because of some of the other restrictions and trying to find those other key playmakers that you've had in years past.
Yes. Yes. Definitely. So let me ask you this, Craig. I've been doing so every guest that comes on, I ask them this question. Everybody's kind of have the same answer for the most part. So I want to see what you'll say. Um, do you feel like the Chiefs dynasty is the most disrespected dynasty that the NFL has had? As far as like media and stuff like that.
Well, I think it's a tough environment that we're in now. Is it the most disrespected? Yes, I would say, but only because we have so much access to sports personalities and
Hmm.
in social media, and everybody has a voice and can express it. I
Hmm.
would say, I would say probably other dynasties, quote unquote, that have been more disrespected, or maybe like hated. Maybe is a better word.
Right,
Like
right.
the Patriots,
Mhm.
like everybody hated the Patriots dynasty that was out outside of New England.
That was outside.
But
Yeah.
that's kind of how dynasties are, right? Is that the team, the home base of that team always rallies around them, and everybody else, they like to see the casual. I wouldn't say casual fan. Most fans like to see the parity of different teams winning
Mm-hmm.
quite a bit every year, right? But then when you
Mm-hmm.
start seeing, okay, cool, yeah, they win back to back, man, they're a pretty good team. Then they're making the Super Bowl for a third year in a row, or you've got like I would say when they've got that much success, at a certain point there are diminishing returns of excitement from the non you know home fan base there in that case.
Right.
And like the 90s Cowboys, how many people still talk about the 90s Cowboys in a similar way to what we now kind of talk about the maybe like the Patriots dynasty of when it was, and then
Mm-hmm.
eventually the Chiefs dynasty, right? Is
Yes.
but Cowboys fans still think that
Yeah, it's still going.
yeah,
They think it's still happening.
it's this year,
Yeah.
right? It's
Exactly.
they still haven't moved on from the 90s, but that's a completely different side story. Is it the most disrespected? Yes and no. Yes, because I think just the massive amount of availability that people have to see and say their piece, express their opinions. But I also would say in context of other dynasties, it's very much the same as other dynasties of the past where you hit a certain amount of success, naturally everybody's going to want to see you lose because they want to see parity. We
Right.
as
Right.
fans, we as fans are really weird because we love to see the parity, but then when the same bigger markets show up, like when the Chiefs now are on primetime football,
Mm-hmm.
people tune in because they want to see them lose, but they're
Yep.
still tuning
Mm-hmm.
in.
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
what is it, right? We love to see that. We love to see like, oh, it's possible they could lose. And then
Mm-hmm.
they win and people talk smack about it, right?
Yeah, they get mad.
Um
Mm-hmm.
so I would say yes, they are probably the most disrespected just because of the sheer volume of opinions that are out there nowadays. But
Mm-hmm.
in terms of other dynasties, I would say it's kind of right on, maybe not on par with what the Patriots were, because that run that they had of that many Super Bowl wins,
Right.
um,
Right.
man, there are a lot of people still to this day have a lot of hate for the Patriots, but
Yeah.
I think the
Yeah.
Chiefs are kind of on that similar, like almost on a similar tier of that. But it's I think just because the amount of opinion and availability of saying that opinion through social media and other sports outlets like this that are out
Mm-hmm.
there today.
Got you. And I can definitely see that. Patriots dynasty lasted a whole 20 years. So you have you had, older brother done seen it, younger cousin done seen it, like everybody saw, because it lasted so long. Whereas with the Chiefs, this is year 7, and people are already tired. Of say, well, there's like possibly 13 more years of this. You sure you tired now? Like,
Well, that's
like it's
yeah,
it's only year 7.
yeah. It's and I think that's more of a testament sometimes to the call it the short attention spans that people have. It's like, okay, cool, 3 years of that, I'm ready for something new.
Mhm.
Whereas when you look at dynasties, they are going to last a long time, and the definition of that dynasty, does it mean they're going to be winning Super Bowls every year? I don't think so. But if you're making conference championship games every single year, or even making the Super Bowl a certain amount of years in a row or over a short span of like 5 to 7 years, that's where I think that dynasty window can still be open, right?
Right, right.
Um,
Mhm.
Even if the Chiefs don't win another Super Bowl, but in the next say 3 years, but they made the Super Bowl once in the next 3 years, or they've made the conference championship all 3 of those years, you can still consider that to be part of the dynasty window.
Mhm.
But it's when those things, I like to think about the closing of the windows.
Yeah.
When did the closing of the Cowboys window really end, right? When they made a coaching change, like
Yep.
Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones had a falling out. Guys started
Mhm.
retiring.
Yep.
Aikman, Irving, and then Emmett Smith just kind of was like, let me hold on for another couple years so I can steal the spotlight from Barry and Walter Payton.
All
But
right. Yeah.
I'm gonna spark some hate from people from that probably, but it's when those things are happening. So
Yeah.
when are the Chiefs dynasty over? If Reed retires or if something happens to Mahomes, um, Jones, Kelsey, like that core group.
Gotcha. Yeah. And it's rare that you kind of have the handoff of during the dynasty. I think in recent memory, the only team that was able to do that was the 49ers when, okay, Joe Montana, thank you for all you did. Now it's time for Steve Young. And that was kind of the handoff. Even though Steve Young only won one, they were still getting to conference championship games and in the playoffs. So um, that's the only dynasty in recent memory that I can think of that had the transition of, okay, we got somebody else. And then it still kind of kept on rolling. So it
Yeah,
is kind of hard to hand it off. Yeah.
yeah, and then in that time frame too, talking the early '90s.
Yeah.
You look at, if I remember correctly, they still had the coaching staff intact when that change
Yes.
happened.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's another factor. Now, if
Mm-hmm.
if the Chiefs somehow something happens to Mahomes where he goes down or he's done, got to retire for some reason, and then if they find another quarterback while Reed is still there, it's
Yeah.
possible that could continue because
Right. Right.
Reed is such a great offensive mind, offensive coach. Um, but that's where you talk about with like Steve Young and stuff. Look at the Patriots when Brady left.
Oh yeah, it got
Belichick
bad.
needed Brady and vice versa because Brady
Yes.
wouldn't have got a shot without Belichick. And
Right.
if the coach is there, you still have a shot at the team maintaining success. But
Hmm.
it's the dynamic between the two that is also really important. We should talk about like team games and stuff. So
Yes.
it is possible that window is always still going to be open. I think as long as Mahomes and Reed are there together, regardless
Yes.
of when Travis Kelsey decides to retire because he's not the breadwinner of his household
Right.
anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't have to. He's playing for the love of it, right?
Yeah. The love.
Or
Yeah.
yeah, or then when you've got Jones, maybe Jones retires or something happens, they're not able to come to a new deal, and
Hmm.
his contract is up. So now it's just plug and play a bunch of places. But as long as you have the dynamic of an elite quarterback, or even like a great quarterback
Right.
and a great to elite coach, you still have that possibility.
Yeah. Definitely. Most definitely. So all right, Craig. We're getting to our end of the segment here. So I'm gonna ask you: Lions win on Sunday night if
Lions win on Sunday night in Arrowhead if they can keep Jared Goff upright. I think that's a big one because Taylor Decker missed last week. They have, I want to say it was Giovanni Manu just slotted in at left tackle. They chose not to slide Panay Sewell over, keeping him at natural right tackle. And I think it was 3 sacks, 3 or 4 sacks they gave up against the Bengals, who have a pretty good pass rush with
Mhm.
Henderson. But if they can keep him upright with the shuffling of the offensive line, which seems to be a yearly occurrence, keep him upright, and if defensively, if they can limit the deep plays, if they can limit the big plays defensively, because we had the secondaries down DJ Reed, Manuel Rakestraw's been out for the whole year, and then Terry and Arnold's down. So they're for it seems like the third year in a row, they're down to picking guys up off the practice squad, off the street. Hey, do you want to play safety or corner for us this week? If
Right.
if they can do those two things, because they do have guys in the secondary that are ball hawks. Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch is a fantastic, like hybrid safety slot corner type of guy, and they can if they can limit big plays in the passing game defensively, because they've always historically struggled against quarterbacks like Mahomes, guys that can extend plays, make plays with their feet. Um, and I think that's where the Chiefs really kind of had a little bit of spark last week against the Jaguars in
Mhm.
offensively. So if they can limit the big plays defensively, Xavier Worthy is going to be a big question mark. Is he still going to play Sunday night? I think we were talking he was held out of practice Friday,
Yeah. Hmm.
so that's going to be a question mark. Yeah, if they can keep Goff upright, the Chiefs were still able to get, I think, 3 sacks against Jacksonville.
Yes.
But
Hmm.
what hurt them was Trevor Lawrence. I He had like 50, 55 yards rushing or something in that game. Goff's not going
Yep.
to do that. So
Hmm.
Goff's going to be, if they're not able to protect him well enough, or at least get the ball out of his hand quickly to allow the playmakers to make plays, it's going to be tough. But Lions can win if they do those things. Keep Jared Goff's jersey clean and limit big plays in the passing game defensively.
Okay. And what is your score for Sunday night?
I've been thinking about this for 2 days. Uh, we were pre-show. We're talking about how the line has moved in from Vegas. I think it was like
Mhm.
Lions were 6.5 point favorites. I think Monday or
Yeah.
something like that. And then as of Friday morning, the Chiefs are favored 2.5, 3.5 points. So the the swing has been crazy in that
Hmm.
aspect.
Yes.
My Based on how these two offenses are and the way Detroit likes to control the clock offensively, running the ball, controlling the ground game, and utilizing play action to keep the chains moving. I want to say this game's going to be in the 30s, both sides, but every time I've come on shows like this and said that, it feels like it's, 21-24 type of games. But
Yeah, something like that.
I'd
Yep.
probably say, yeah, I'd probably say this would probably be like a 34-31 type of game to me. Um, and I think that can kind of go either way. It's going to be Arrowhead's a tough environment. It is a road game. It's tough to win on the road in the NFL, and but each team is coming off of encouraging results. Chiefs
Mhm.
couldn't get the win, but they had a lot of positive signs in that game Monday against the Jaguars, and Lions are rolling right now. So I think the Lions can ultimately do it. Uh, I'll go 34-31 Lions, but like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if this game ends up being in the 20s because for all this talk about how the offenses are performing, watch the defenses step up, right?
All right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll
Because
go thirty-four
that's
thirty-one Lions.
34-31. Okay. That's kind of how the last matchup was. Lions won 21-20. We were thinking it was going to be a little higher than that. And Chiefs fans, we all know that was the night Kadarius Toney could not catch a cold. And so that's why it was 21-20. But yeah, so yeah, it could definitely be that kind of game. Definitely. But Craig, I thank you, my man, for coming on and talking Chiefs Lions. And if it all works out, maybe we see each other again in February.
Hey, one can hope, right? I
Yes.
appreciate you having me on, Greg. It's always a pleasure to come on Red Kingdom and talk football with you. So, hey, in the future, even if it's not Lions, you want to talk some football, let me know, man. Let's it's always a lot of fun. It's fun to get back and behind the camera and talk football, Lions football, Chiefs football. It's
Mhm.
a lot of fun. So I appreciate you having me on. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. That is Craig Campbell, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. My mic was muted. We thank Craig again for taking time out to be able to record that. Um, so, kind of what he was talking about there. He feels like if the Lions can keep Jared Goff upright, then they got a pretty good chance at winning. Something else he did mention was injuries. The Lions have a lot of injuries, especially in their secondary. This is going to be key tonight. This is what I feel. Jalen Moore at left tackle. I think left tackle is still going to be fine. Uh, of course, would we love for Josh Simmons to be at left tackle tonight? Yes, of course. But Jalen Moore is no slouch. I think that's going to be fine. Here's my thing now. With the injuries in the secondary for the Lions, as long as Patrick Mahomes has time to throw the football, the Chiefs offense uh is going to be great tonight, I feel. Um as long as they don't let Aiden Hutchinson ruin this game, the Chiefs offense is going to be fine tonight. Um Now, if the Chiefs look really good tonight and they score 30, 40 points on Monday, I don't want everybody being like, yeah, the Chiefs look good because everybody on the lines was injured. Just like everybody knew the injury that the Ravens had before we played them, everybody knows the injuries that the Detroit Lions have before we played them. They have a lot of injuries, yes. However, it is up to the Chiefs to exploit those injuries. Now, I do expect that to happen tonight. Um, as long as there's somewhat of a balance, I feel like the Chiefs should have ran the ball a little bit more Monday night against the Jags. They were having success, but um, can I get at least 20 rushing attempts tonight? I know that's asking a lot from, Andy, but I don't care if it's 10-10. Like Pacheco gets 10 carries, Hunt gets 10. However, we get to 20, that's what I want. So have somewhat of a balance there as far as the play calling. But let's go ahead and get to the score predictions here. Okay. So, as I said, Jay and Cam are out on business today, doing their thing. Shout out to them. So Jay, her score prediction for tonight was 30-27 Chiefs. And Cam's score prediction for tonight was 27-23 Chiefs. I'm going along those lines as well. On the defensive side of the football for the Chiefs, two things that they can't let happen tonight. Don't let the Lions run the ball down their throat with Gibbs. Also, don't let Amon-Ra St. Brown take over this game. Don't let Amon-Ra St. Brown take over this game. If the Chiefs can do those two things, slow down the Lions' run game, don't let Amon-Ra St. Brown take over, I like our chances tonight. I am going to go Chiefs 28, Lions 21. I have the Chiefs winning 28-21 tonight. Again, it's an important game. First off, the Chiefs don't want to drop to 2-4. That's the first thing. You want to be at 3-3. Rice comes back next week. We can begin the postseason push from next week on. This game is also important tonight because Denver beat the Jets earlier today, 13-11. It was an ugly game. Denver won. They're 4-2. The Chargers found a way to survive against the Dolphins earlier today, 29 to 27. The Chargers are 4-2. So it is important for the Chiefs to stay on pace with the Chargers, with Denver, win this football game. You get to 3-3. You're still one game back of Denver and LA. Still a lot of games left. A lot can happen. Tonight is a must win. I felt like that when we did our episode Tuesday. I feel the same way today. Today's a must win for the Kansas City Chiefs. But I do have the Chiefs winning tonight, 28-21. Like I said, slow down the run game of the Lions and don't let Amon-Ra St. Brown take over this game. You do those two things on defense, I think the Chiefs will be just fine on the defensive side. The offensive side, let's run the ball somewhat. Like I said, let's try to get 20 carries, however you want to split it. And offensive line continue to do what they've been doing the past 3 games, honestly, which is protect Patrick, give him time to pass, let him carve up defenses. He did it against the Ravens. He did it last week against the Jags. I feel like if the Chiefs can do that tonight against a depleted Lions secondary, then it's going to be a good night for Patrick Mahomes and this offense. So those are my keys for tonight. Again, hope y'all enjoyed this special pregame show. Kickoff is in about 2 hours and about 15 minutes away. So we will be back with you guys on Wednesday. I know we're usually on Tuesdays, but this week we'll be on that Wednesday, noon Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. Okay, that'll be when the next time you can see an episode of Red Kingdom here on All Sports All Plays Network. So shout out to our sponsors as always. Love is Key. That is their website there on the screen, loveiskeykc.com. And also to get in touch with them for a catering order, 816-556-6912. And also we want to shout out Food Factory KC, our reigning KC People's Choice Award winners for Best Food Truck. So that's their Instagram handle there on the screen at _Food Factory KC. So make sure to give them a follow as well, and make sure to check them out and buy some stuff from them as well. Some good food from both places. And we thank both Love is Key and Food Factory KC for being sponsors of Red Kingdom. Enjoy the game tonight. Go Chiefs. We will be back with you guys on Wednesday. What we are hoping is Victory Wednesday. Enjoy tonight, and we'll catch y'all next time. Peace.